To Morning Pulse, the pulse of Nigerian politics. My name is Sharon Enemchukwu, and joining me live in the studio, I have with me Ifeoma Oji. Good morning, how are you doing?
Good morning, I'm good.
All right, we're going straight to the stories for today. First, we're looking at two major security stories from Anambra State. But first, the convoy of former Anambra State Governor and former Minister of Labour, Chris Ngige, was reportedly attacked by gunmen. During the incident, his police escort was allegedly overpowered and disrobed. The attack has raised fresh concerns about the worsening security in the southeast. In our second story, a community elder who spent 58 days in the hands of bandits has finally regained his freedom. His family reportedly secured his release after paying a ransom of 20 million naira. This incident adds to the growing list of kidnappings that continue to unsettle residents and stretch families both emotionally and financially. And finally, we're seeing the landing of former President Goodluck Jonathan to Nigeria just yesterday. Despite the whole shutdown, like we said, the border has been reopened in Guinea-Bissau, and we saw the arrival of former President Goodluck Jonathan, and I think that is just a huge sigh of relief to see that he's back and he's safe. But we're starting first with the convoy of the former Anambra State Governor being attacked by bandits, and this has caused a whole lot. From the point of Chris Ngige, from his POV, he said that his cars were just returning from the mechanic and he was not in it, and that he was being targeted at. But now he is going back to Abuja, but we'll make sure that they fish out the culprits of this. But a lot of speculations, people are saying this might be, the same banditry attack that we're seeing in northern states that has gradually entered into southeast. Do you have the same opinion, Ifeoma?
I think it's quite unfortunate that happened to him, and I'm happy that at least he wasn't present when it happened. And it's quite unfortunate that a policeman witnessed what happened. I believe he was reportedly shot. So my heart goes out to him and his family. I believe that maybe he has been taken to medical care and hopefully he should be fine. And then moving on, because of the fact that we are more relaxed, the government is relaxed on this case of insecurity that has kind of put Nigeria in a siege. I told you in one of our shows that because of the fact that they are relaxed, that we'll see it trickling to other states. So there's high possibility or probability that it has already started doing that. There was insecurity in the southeast before, but this banditry, we've not really witnessed it, or the terrorists, we've not really witnessed it. But this is what happens when you don't prioritize the lives of people living in Nigeria. I tell you that there is no form of right of a citizen, as a citizen of Nigeria, that this present government or this banditry or terrorists have not infringed. Should I talk about the right of movement in section 41 of the 1999 Constitution? It has infringed on that. Should I talk about the right to practice freedom of speech? It has been infringed. Should I talk about the right for religion, the right to practice any religion you want? It has been infringed. You understand? So this is what happens when the government is ineffective, and this is what happens when the government refuses to address, key issues, which is insecurity in Nigeria. We saw exactly what's going on in the Senate House yesterday. A man was trying to, bring up a topic of concern, you get, for the entire house to unite and find a way to solve insecurity. We saw how his mic was being turned up. We saw how the approach from the Senate House, how he tackled the matter. That's to show you that most of the times, not even most of the time, these people don't actually care about lives of people. And just like what somebody said in the comment section, that because of the fact that they fail to recognize or accept the fact that there is a lot of insecurity in Nigeria, it's high time that those insecurities start affecting them, so that they will witness, or they will witness it firsthand and see if they can actually do something about it.
And this is exactly what Nigerians are saying, that there might be a turnaround as to this particular insecurity that we've been facing for years, when if it starts affecting those at the top, the politicians. But let's take a look at where this attack happened in Anambra State. After this particular attack, a lot of people have showed concern, seeing that this happened in Anambra State, but the Anambra State government has come out to say that it's on top of things. But do you think, are there any actions that you will be looking out for that the Anambra State government should carry out after such an attack?
I've seen him utilize the opportunity to try as much as possible to curb insecurity. We remember when there was, I think, attacks back to back in Anambra sometime, and we witnessed him working on insecurity, and before time we saw that, okay, security has improved to an extent, you understand, but it's as if maybe the security, the tightening of the security kind of collapsed. That's why we're having something like this. So we hope and wish that he would actually utilize the momentum to tighten security in Anambra once more.
You know, talking about the security situation in Anambra State, we saw with Soludo coming into power as governor of Anambra, opening up vigilante groups like the likes of Agune Chamber, Udogachi, and the rest of them. These are vigilante groups that the Soludo administration set up. So let's talk a little bit about them now, the community vigilante groups. How do you think they factor into the broader security strategy? Do you think that Soludo is on point with these community vigilantes that we have?
To an extent, they have tried as much as possible to solve the case of insecurity in Anambra State, but to a very large extent, just like what Mr. Sacramento will always say, that in every disciple there will always be a Judas. So they've been people that have, you know, gone out of place, or people that have become extremists. You understand? They are no longer protecting people's lives or property that they are supposed to protect. Rather, they became predators. We saw where a core member was harassed months ago, you understand, because they thought, or they said she was involved in Yahoo, and you didn't. I don't remember them carrying out any investigation before going to meet her. Even if you want to make an arrest, there should be an arrest warrant, and there should be due diligence before any of that is being carried out. But we see them acting out of line, out of their own, you know, line of work. But I think over the months, how many months now, we've really seen that subsided, and we've seen at least security to a very large extent stable in Anambra State. You
know, the federal government has also been making moves for state policing now, making moves for states to have control of police, have their own police. And just yesterday we saw a state of emergency called on our security institutions. Now, I watched an interview, and this man was saying that he hopes that that particular announcement does not just end there, that the government actually does more. He was even calling for, as opposed to the 20,000 police officers that the president called to bring into the police force, he was calling for 50,000 police officers, but was warning that the method and the way in which that they are brought into the force should be very, you know, be very strict, so that we don't bring in bandits or people who would jeopardize the entire security plan that we have. But talking about state policing, what are your expectations for that?
Okay, when we saw that in the news, I think we commended that. It was a step in the right direction, but at the same time we questioned, it begs the question, why is it now? It's something that should have been present all these years. States should be able to have, you know, people or security operatives protecting people. It doesn't have to come from maybe Abuja or different, you know, states. They are supposed to be people as standby in checkpoints and the rest of them in each state state who are being directed by the governor of the present state. And I saw one time in the news where the military men that were shortlisted for recruitment, I saw that there was a bandit name or something like this, a terrorist name that was included in the distance. So when you talk about scrutiny and when you talk about strict recruitment, I think they should be massive and strict what's it called, restriction or scrutiny of people that you still recruit into the police, because a lot of people have really gone, you know, haywire. A lot of people just want that opportunity to, you know, penetrate into the system and corrupt the system the more. So I think anybody that we are bringing into the security apparatus to guide people's life, it should be people of you know, the same interests, and it should be people that have reputable character. So I think it is a good step.
All right, you know, we're also discussing about the fact that this happened not just to any ordinary citizen, but to a former governor of Anambra State and Minister of Works, former Minister of Works, Chris Ngige. Now, just yesterday as well, we talked about the fact that there's been an order from the presidency to withdraw 100,000 police officers from VIPs. Now, we saw that in that whole combat, in the whole gunfire between the bandits and the people from Chris Ngige, a policeman was shot. So let's talk a little again about the fact that we saw Senator Wamako coming out to cry out in the Senate that if they withdraw police officers from VIPs, it would make them soft targets. So let's get your thoughts a little on that with the recent attack on Chris Ngige.
You know, when something does not affect you, most of the times you don't feel empathy, you don't feel the pain of others. But when it hits you right at where it usually hits people, you will know, oh, this is actually harmful, this is actually painful. You feel the pain of other people. So I saw the man in the media trying to talk, should I say, trying to urge the presidency not to withdraw the security operatives that have been attached to VIPs. And I remember I mentioned that in Nigeria we have about 200,000 policemen in the system, and more than 100,000 of them have been attached to these VIPs. So it is high time that we cut down on all this security that have been attached to these people. Let them feel the rot of the insecurity in Nigeria, because by the time they feel the rot of the insecurity, maybe they could actually pressure the government, the present government, or even the president to tackle the case of insecurity. So they should feel it, you know, firsthand, like I said in the other discussion. Then talking about the battle between the police and the unknown gunmen, and maybe because of the fact that there weren't enough security personnel to combat or revolt against the banditry, the terrorists, or the unknown gunmen, the policeman was shot or overpowered. It's still the same thing that we are talking about. Everything boils down to insecurity. Everything boils down to tightening security in the state, not just the state, the entire Nigerians. People are tired. People are hopeless. People don't even trust the government anymore to protect them. You understand? So it still boils down on security.
And you know, this matter of security, it is touching every single state right now. It is trickling down from the north, because we saw, you know, where after this attack, Chris Ngige came out to say that he just came back to Anambra to relax and have a peaceful time. But after this attack, he'll be going back to Abuja. And that statement just stood out to me, seeing that they see Abuja as a safe haven, right, where you run to after you've been attacked. But just the other day, we saw the abductions in Abuja, where a boy of 16 years old was abducted, alongside 6 other kids as well were abducted. Now, this issue, or this understanding that we have as Abuja being a safe haven, even Lagos State to a large extent as well, with all of these abductions going on, how long do you think that can stand?
I am seeing I'm not really going to predict what is going to happen in the next maybe 1 month or 2 months time, but what I know is because of the fact that we keep on the present government keep on negotiating with this bandit. I saw Sheikh Gumi of recent, he started his peace negotiation since, is it 2014 or 2018, where he was talking about that it's better that we have kidnappers kidnap children from school rather than terrorists causing chaos or anarchy in the land. So it's more like he prefers children being kidnapped and then a ransom is being paid to them by the government for the children's release. You see how some people in Nigeria or in this government is really reasoning. You see how they reason. So you don't even care about the trauma you're putting these children into. All you're considering is, okay, let's choose the lesser evil. You understand? It does not make sense. Insecurity is insecurity. You understand? There is no two ways about it. And then moving forward to what you just mentioned, I'm seeing it, like I said earlier, trickling to other states if nothing is being done about it. And the Abuja that they always run to for safety, Abuja have had so many attacks. Is it not in the same Abuja that a police vehicle was stolen? Is it not in the same Abuja that Somi died, the Arise TV correspondent died? So Abuja too is not safe. So it's all about coming together, sitting in a round table and discussing how are we going to protect what are we going to do to make sure that everybody in Nigeria is safe and secured. Exactly.
Talking about paying ransom as well, we're moving to the next story where I'm going to show us a video. This is a video of an elder who has spent, a community elder known as Daddy Gold, who spent 58 days in captivity after he was abducted on 28 September 2025. Now the bandits, the kidnappers, initially made a ransom offer of 100 million, but the family of the man was unable to come up with that amount, and so they raised up 20 million naira. But upon the return of this man, I think I'll just let you make the decision as you take a look at that video.
We've I just praise God. Okay. It's all right. Then. We've I just praise God. Okay. It's all right. Then.
We just came back from that video, and I would let you make the decision in the comment section how exactly that man looks, just spending 58 days in captivity after he was abducted in Kwara State in September 2025, and now just being recently released. First of all, we thank God that the family was able to raise up the money for that ransom, and that he's even alive in the first place. But the way he looks like he has crossed the border between the death and the living. But let me have your take from that.
Yeah, talking about this, I'm having like chills all over my body. It's actually good news. We thank God that at the end of the day he was rescued and reunited with his family. But it's still the same thing that we are talking about, because of the fact that we keep on granting amnesty to this terrorists. They keep on, is enabling them every single time to keep on doing the act, and it's as if this terrorism is now a lucrative business for them. It's more like this is, without terrorism, people are not going to, survive. And it goes down to ask us the question: why is it that people are now finding terrorism as a lucrative business? What is really happening? You'll find out it's because of the rate of not just insecurity, it's the rate of the high cost of things in Nigeria, the inflation in Nigeria. That is why you see young graduates going into Yahoo. That is why you will see community people, even at the age of 13, at the age of 12, we see young people carrying arms, ammunition, AK-47, sophisticated confiscated what's it called, weapons. Yeah, it's because of the fact that the government have not given them any other alternative. It's not like I'm trying to campaign for insecurity in Nigeria, but I'm talking about why don't we, in as much as we are trying to fight or curb insecurity in Nigeria, we still need to find out what is causing insecurity. I feel like we already know what is causing insecurity. Why don't we fix the problem?
Exactly, but also what I think is really alarming is the fact that these bandits are going haywire with the amount that they are demanding for ransom, going as far as demanding. I think that they really start from 100 million, because we saw that in Kwara State as well, they demanded 100 million per head, making it a total of 3.8 billion naira. Now this family was able to raise up a whooping sum of 20 million naira. So let's talk about the ransom and the bandits incentive, how their taste buds are shaping, because you know the amount of money that they call out for ransom going forward.
When I was little, or when I started growing up, I usually see this terrorists, or not just these Aboki people, Fulani people, as people that are not materialistic. And not just that, yes, that you can, maybe you want to repair slippers, you give them 20 naira, you give them 100 naira, they will be so happy. Coming out to see that these people that we were talking about before, they are no longer the same. They are now even people, maybe people from the southeast, maybe Igbos that kidnap people, might not really ask for such ransom. Coming out to see that these people have upgraded from their institution. He said the same thing that I'm talking about, insecurity and enabling this set of people. And I just remember a particular movie. I don't know if any of you have seen the movie The Heather. It describes exactly what is going on in Nigeria, how they kidnap both the headers, both terrorists, how they go to communities and kidnap people and then place a bounty on their head, and we see the government negotiating with them. It's literally a mockery, it's literally a disgrace to Nigeria that this whole insecurity in Nigeria has made it into the international body, has made it into Netflix. You understand? It's quite a shame that everybody outside this country is cruising on what is going on in Nigeria. Go to any news channel outside the country, you will be hearing about Nigeria. You hear about the attack where they don't even know. You hear attack today, you hear attack tomorrow. Sometimes they don't even know the numbers, but at the attacks, they're hearing about genocide, they're hearing about terrorism. It's so sad, and this present government keep on denying that there is nothing like genocide attack and there is nothing like terrorism in Nigeria. It is quite sad that these people are being enabled to ask. How do you, the audacity to ask somebody for a ransom of 100 million naira? It is quite absurd, to be honest.
Talking about abduction and the fact that everybody obviously knows what is going on, I think it's even for the best that these people put it out on the global stage, put it out on international platforms, so they see exactly what is going on. The days of struggling and smiling is over for Nigeria. Now we are going to see what exactly Nigerians have had to put up with for years. Now, still talking about abduction, we're also hearing that there was also a recent abduction in Kebbi where an unspecified number of residents were abducted while they were asleep. This is just coming barely days after the Kebbi girls, the 24 Kebbi girls were rescued. Now, this report of abduction has been back to back. They say they rescued the girls from bandits in Kebbi State by making a call using the non-kinetic approach. The security agencies made calls to the bandits. They said whatever they said to them, and they brought these people out without chasing those bandits from the area that they have dominated for so long. Now, after that negotiation, the government said they didn't pay them off. The bandits said they did. Now they are still in that same location, putting the lives of those residents at risk, and we're seeing attack after attack. Even in Kwara State, after the abduction of the 38 worshippers, there was also another abduction. Now in Kebbi State, we're seeing another abduction, and the state that these people are, after they even come out from this attack and they come out from the captivity of these bandits, will never be the same. When you look at the video of the man that was abducted and stayed in captivity for 58 days, you can tell that there is a clear difference. But let's get your take on the fact that these bandits are still in the area, still in the community of those that they have abducted in the past.
I saw over the news 3 days ago that the president have ordered aerial services to comb the terrains of these people and to combat, or rather destroy everything that had to do with banditry, and he even condemned the act. Now we are seeing another attack. I really feel sad for this community, because you wake up every day, you don't even wake up, you sleep and you're not sure if you're going to wake up whole. You're not even sure if you're going to wake up to the same place that you slept for that day. The entire community is now living in fear. There is nothing like policing, there is nothing like military. I thought that military were actually deployed to this state, to this community, to guard people there. What happened to the military? And we're still asking the question of the people in KB, this same KB state, when an attack occurred few days ago, and how the military left the premises. We are still asking the question, who ordered their withdrawal? And now we are hearing another attack upon attack. We saw the attack of Isapa community very close to the same Eruku that we talked about, and now we are seeing another attack again in that KB state. What is going on? Why is it that the government is not doing anything about it? Can we really stop this negotiation? It is not helping. I thought that in life you're supposed to have so many plans. There is plan A, there is plan B, there is plan C, there is probably plan D. So if you've explored plan A, it does not work. What happens to plan B? Why are we petting these people? Why are we pacifying criminals? I saw a few days ago also in the news that the Senate were deliberating on a life sentencing for death penalty for these criminals, and I was actually questioning, why does it have to be now? Is it not something that should have been done all this while? So what happens to that bill? Has it been passed into law? These are the things that need to be put in place. These people don't need to be enabled. These people need to be fished out and face full wrath of the law for the sake of humanity. People are in pain. People are going through a lot. They should face the full wrath of the law. This should come to an end, please.
You know, talking about this particular attack again in Kebbi and the repeated attack, I think it is worrisome that the chief security of Nigeria has not answered these questions that we have been asking, especially knowing that Kebbi State, recent Kebbi, Kwara, these states, they have recently been attacked and targeted. Now, after that particular incident where the Kebbi girls were brought back home, there was an actual handover ceremony where they handed over the Kebbi girls to their parents. It was a whole-on ceremony. Now, I thought that they were going to be the security or the military men that were there before, that were withdrawn before that attack, were going to be reinstated and even more backup added. But we're still seeing, because we are getting reports from even the residents of that community, that even though they have been attacked repeatedly, that most of the people that were abducted have not yet been released. So we are seeing the Kebbi attack, the 24 schoolgirls in Kebbi attack, and we think that's just it, but that's not it. We're hearing that there are other people that were abducted but are yet to be released as well. They say this is one of many attacks that they have witnessed, but one unfortunate thing is in that area is that there is no presence of security operatives that is present in that area, which has undermined the entire safety of people in that locality and people in that region. And I just think that this is worrisome. The fact that there is they made the effort to organize a handover ceremony, but this is days later, weeks later. So that is going to be your expectation for the state of emergency that has been called on our security institutions by the presidency?
It's always more recruitment, it's always more training, it's always more security in every state and the entire Nigeria at large. But what we see now is always headlines, and most of these policies always end up in the headlines. So if I would really love if we would see enforcement, a follow through of this particular thing, but at the same time you still ask yourself, who amongst the youth of these days is ready to risk their lives for nothing? That's a question you ask. But at the same time, there might still be courageous people that are ready to take up this responsibility to protect everybody. And I hope that when this happens, that they won't be attached to VIPs. Rather, they should protect communities, they should protect the state that they are being employed or recruited in the first place to protect.
Anyways, thank you so much, Ifoma Oji. This is where we're going to be calling it a wrap on the show. If you're watching for the first time, this is Active Citizens and the show is Morning Pulse. My name is Sharon Chuku, your host, and I didn't do this alone. I did this with Ifoma Oji. And also, if you're yet to follow us across all social media, endeavor to do that. Find us at Active Citizens, and you can find me on my personal pages as well at Sharon Chuku. And you, Ifoma?
You can find me on Facebook at Oji Sophia and on Instagram at Miselex.
All right, so we'll come your way later today. Do have a good morning.